So Tom Brady was talking about this. Tom, and I said, I wish he'd just, stop in New England, wrap a bow, and be nice and tidy, but it's not my life. I'm worried about Tom's legacy. Tom's not worried about his legacy. But he talked to Howard Stern about continuing to play, leaving this perfect legacy and moving on.
We all think we're going to live forever.
Right.
But the reality is we don't know when our day's going to come. So I could sit here and go, well, stop playing football so I could, worry about what's going to happen or worry about this or that, instead of saying, why don't I live my life the way that I want and enjoy it, in the ways that are going to be most fulfilling to me, which for me is doing what I love to do. You don't tell a musician stop singing,
right,
at age of 42. You don't tell a great painter stop painting at 42. Now, if you want to stop, go ahead. But for me, because I feel like I can still play doesn't mean I should just stop playing because that's what everyone's telling me to do.
By the way, Howard Stern started painting about 10 years ago and playing chess, and he's pretty good on the guitar now. He's evolved. He doesn't do as much stripper talk. It's a much smarter show. Oprah used to do a talk show host. Now she runs a network. It's a smarter show. Is that Tom Brady, the happiest people I know in this country have a purpose. And as you age and the kids move out of the house, so you're not raising them, and, you get to be 62 and 65, I never wanted to be a guy that raced to a golf course 6 days away, six days a week, and golfed, and my brain turns to mush. I never wanted to do that. It's nothing against golf. I love watching golf majors. I love the Masters. I love the British Open. I love the U.S. Open. I love watching golf majors. And I've gone to golf tournaments, and I like hitting golf balls. But I don't want my brain to turn to mush golfing with the same guys 6 days a week. Tom Brady has a purpose, and he's got a direction. And the happiest, healthiest people I know have, especially as you age. You when you're young, you don't have kids to worry about. When you're old, they're no longer in the house. What's your purpose getting up? The mom, the husband, what's the purpose? The purpose is doing something you love. And this idea that Tom Brady can no longer play is absurd. A year ago, not this past year, 1 year earlier, 66% completion rate, 4,500 yards, 98 passer rating, 29 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Gronk was old and on his last year, and Edelman was the worst number one receiver in the league. Last year, his bad year with a bad offensive line, no number one receiver, and no tight end to speak of, Brady's numbers were, he threw again for over 4,000 yards. With no weapons. They got Mohamed Sanu mid-season, and New England's offense doesn't do well with rookie receivers and no tight ends and guys that come in mid-season. This idea he can't play is ludicrous. Phil Simms came on our show and said that a month ago. It's up. Stop saying that.
I hear people on TV, his arm is not as good. What are you watching?
His
arm might be better now than it's ever been in his career.
Yes.
Okay. He might run a 5.3 40 or whatever it was, but he dances in the pocket like he's 4.5. You watch him. I've seen highlights of him from last year, and I look at him and I just go, man, he can just move around that pocket like he's a ballet dancer. And that is something that I don't know why more quarterbacks don't emulate now.
Yeah, he can play. He's played for the last couple of years. I don't think people are taking this into consideration. And this is not a shot at my former employer. It's not. But the way the structure was built at my former employer, basically John, a guy named Vince, and I did the show, two people. I didn't have a Joy. I didn't have a Dave Coelho, my guest booker. I didn't have 7 to 8 to 9 other people in the room. That's why my numbers have gone up. That's why I tripled my TV audience. And my digital's gone up 6 times. And my Facebook is now 330 million views a year. And my YouTube has grown. And my digital is growing. Why? Because I have a much better staff to work with. That's not a shot at the other people because I took one of them. The point being is Tom is going to go from arguably the weakest weapons in the league. Julian Edelman's a 3 to a 2 on many teams. On the Rams, I'm not even sure where he's at. There are organizations that have wide receivers. I mean, where would he be on most teams? I mean, where would he be in Dallas? He wouldn't be Amari Cooper. I think they like Michael Gallup. Zeke's going to get run. He'd probably be a 4. They let go of Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley's not that much different than Julian Edelman. He's not. The difference is Edelman's had Brady. Cole Beasley's got Josh Allen and a young Dak. So the point being is now Tom's going to go to a better staff and better teammates and better coworkers playing in their prime. Chris Godwin going into his prime. Mike Evans going into his prime. His tight ends, young, going into their prime or in their prime. All Tampa has to do, really, to me, is get a running back. Draft a running back. There's a bunch of really good kind of second, third, fourth, fifth running backs, fifth-round guys. Get a running back. There's a couple things to address on the defensive side, and he's just got a better team. Younger, more athletic, more help means better content. Content for him is wins. I think Tampa and Tom are going to be a beautiful marriage. NFC is tougher than the AFC. It's deeper, but a very productive marriage. So there's just been this discussion. There's not much of a market for Tom Brady. Let me ask you this. Any industry, you're in insurance. Whatever you're in sales, you're in insurance, you're in pharmaceuticals. If there were 8 openings in your industry and you were up for 4 of them, is that a market? Well, that's a pretty good market. I know the Chargers thought they had him. The Patriots thought they had him. And Tampa Bay got him. And I was told, and I trust my source, Indianapolis was interested. I mean, they took Phillip Rivers, who's 0-8 against Brady. They wouldn't have taken Brady for 2 years? Really? They took the less athletic, more mistake-prone Phillip Rivers, and they cost the same. They're not going to go public with it. I'm told the Raiders sniffed around. So there was only about 8 teams in the NFL that don't have a quarterback. Half of them were interested. That's a market. Teddy Bridgewater, by the way, had a market. Cam has no market yet. There are people in the media trying to engineer a market for Cam. Admit you were wrong. He was always overrated. He had one great year. Just admit it. You're wrong. Westbrook, you were wrong. Cam, you were wrong. Melo, you were wrong. Okay. Cam will get into the league. He didn't have a market now. Tom had a very healthy market. Here he was on Stern talking about it this morning.
It felt good to be, like I would say, you have this college recruiting process where all the schools come and they want to show you their best. It was a fun experience for me to experience that. I enjoyed that aspect of, seeing what other teams could offer and what other teams, what their processes were. And I learned a lot from it.
Yes, there people wanted him. He's still a very good quarterback. He's not as dynamic as Russell Wilson. He's not. He's not as dynamic as Patrick Mahomes. But he's healthier than Aaron Rodgers. And I think he's more coachable than Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron's really good. So there's some things about Brady today I like more than Aaron Rodgers. And there's some things, arm, athletic ability, movement, mobility, I like about Aaron Rodgers. But the list of people that are absolutely better than Tom now is pretty small. I think he's very much Matt Ryan. And I like Matt Ryan. I think I think there's a lot of Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Tom Brady stuff. But if today I told you one game, win it all, Matt, Jared Goff, Brady, I'd take Brady. And I would take Brady with those weapons. So Tom Brady was on Howard Stern this morning, and my favorite part of it, my big picture takeaway is Tom is now an individual. The New England factory suppresses individualism. Belichick doesn't let his assistant coaches talk. Belichick, by the way, and this is not public, but I've had 2 different people that have worked inside the Patriot organization. By mid-January, Belichick's basically like, thanks, scouts, I'll take the draft from here. By the way, they're not a great drafting team. They're not terrible. They're certainly not great. Not top 4 or 5. They're really bad, actually, drafting offensive players. But I told you I watched a documentary last night called American Factory, and it was comparing American workers and Chinese workers and our sort of DNA. One's obviously a communist country. And the efficiency is laudable in China. But they get 1 day off a week, 18 hours a day, never see their kids, don't even talk about vacations. And, in America, individuality in independence is in our DNA. It's our fabric. It's who we are. And, you go to a factory and guys are wearing hats on backwards and got their tats and they're cracking jokes and they feel like, they're an individual working for a big company. Doesn't work that way. In China, you're part of a big company and it's an intense life. I love the efficiency part, but I didn't like it was any individuality was suppressed. And as I watched it, there were so many messages. But with Brady and nobody's saying the Patriots are communist, but they have this kind of suppressive system where Belichick talks, players don't, coaches don't. Your individuality is suppressed. And I think Tom's over it. You would never hear this interview with Tom Brady in New England. You just wouldn't hear it. Stern this morning asked Brady an off-the-wall question about what he and Gisele were actually wearing this morning.
I'm wearing normal workout shorts because I'm about to go work out after this. But my wife is wearing really cute tight pants, which I always like her in.
Yeah, that's not Foxborough Tom. By the way, I think that is, tight pants. And I've told you, when I come home from work, I wear my dress shirt. Joy just goes into the minivan and wears warm-ups. I am all about business, so I keep a collared shirt on until things get, about 9 o'clock. So the point being is Tom likes his wife in tight jeans. Also, Brady opened up about a hit he took one time and how one of his testicles got really big.
The other quarterback on my team, Matt Castle, so I pulled my shorts off at the end of the game because I thought when I got hit, something happened. It ended up being a hernia in the game where the abdomen wall split open. And then I don't know all the details of it, but other than that, the testicles were literally one side was I would say like an orange.
Oh.
And then the other side was normal. And I was like, something's wrong here. And the guy who's my backup quarterback time, Matt Castle, drew pictures of me with this one huge testicle on one side, and then he would leave him in my locker every day about this.
I like this Tom. I had the other Tom, suppressed Tom, no individuality Tom. I like this Tom.